again, everybody. How the devil are we all? Sorry for the delay. You know, you do a show with a woman, and you know it's going to be late. I should have said, like, we're going to start at 10, be ready for 9. Or was that just my ex? I'm not sure. I tell you what, the way things are going, this show could go anywhere tonight. It is the first in the line of our new WSL shows. Welcome along to Leicester LTID.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester LTID on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Show go okay with no major boobs or goofs.
This is Paul McCartney saying this is where Chris is at. This is where it's at, Chris. Take it.
I'm taking it. Good evening, one and all. I've forgotten what was on that intro. Good evening, Maisie. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Chris? I was just covering myself up after that intro because there were specific rules.
Yeah, what? Can I just say, ex-professional footballer, played for England, won cups, and Maisie. And you know which one's more trouble? I'm leaving it at that. But I tell you what, I've got to be honest with you. Whatever, I mean, it was a lovely guy to have on, was Tony. But do you know what the difference is between him and you?
What's that?
Sorry, that's the last time, I promise you.
I've got to get used to it, but I do want my money's worth.
You do. Well, like I say, just keep adding up this commission. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, Lou can't be with us. Her friend's been in a bit of an accident today, so we do wish her all the best. And she will be along for the next one. So it's just you and me, Maisie. Nobody watches it, so don't worry about it. But thank you for joining us. You obviously have your own channel. You do a lot of women's football on that. Where can people find you?
My YouTube channel is Devils United, Manchester United content. Just as Chris has mentioned, I do women's football as well as men's football. I've done my preview for the WSL this week. I've done Manchester United versus Tottenham, which of course we'll probably touch on a little bit later on. But done that. I've already done my table prediction as well, so I'm not too sure she'll be very happy, Chris.
Oh, I know I'm not going to be very happy, I'll tell you. She's normally prepared, but I mean, look, we cannot in any way talk about women's football without talking about this summer. I mean, I've got to be honest with you, I am late coming to the party, I admit that, but I think this is what women's football needed. What happened during the summer you couldn't have hoped for, but it's pulled so many people into suddenly taking another look at women's football, taking their first look even at women's football.
Some do, some don't, but there's some people who just like to watch the Lionesses when it comes to tournaments and then not bothered about the clubs. They could be like you, who just wants to get into the women's football in general, or there's just people who don't take an interest. I think it's just a mixture, really. But you see more that people are just interested in the tournament football and then just leave them, because you still look at it like the attendances are still very, very low. 1,000 people coming to each game. It's quite low considering when you've seen the crowds of what they were for the Lionesses, and I know they're playing a lot more stadiums now this time round, which we'll touch on probably as well. But that's obviously because of Qatar. Otherwise, they won't be playing in as many at the men's ground this season as they would any other year.
I mean, do you think that it's not going to happen overnight? I mean, like you say,
No.
what we saw during the summer was tournament football, and the fact that it was a final. I mean, you couldn't have scripted it better, could you? It was the fact that it was the final. It was against the Germans. It was at Wembley, and we beat them again. Just I'd mentioned that last point, but it's just. It was a summer without sort of, if you like, any other football. But do you think that the women's game can hold on to? You're not going to hold on to it all, in fairness, but can hold on enough and it can grow.
Yeah, I think it will grow, and it'll grow over time. I think there will be some people who are warm to it. There'll be some people who will just simply not like it. But I think it will grow over time, and I think especially using the stadiums, social media plays a big, massive factor. You need to promote the women's game. I don't know what it is like for Leicester, and it's for promoting the women's, but like Man United, every time there's a kit launch, they always include the women's in it. When it came to us playing at Old Trafford, they literally revamped Old Trafford specifically just for the women's football. So all the pictures, what were of the 1999 Cantona, where we won the Champions League in 08, took all them pictures off, put all the pictures on from women's football since we launched 5 years ago, which I think is absolutely spectacular, what they've done. They have a couple of pages in there, what do they call it? Programs every time a game's on. So I think they do promote, but I think United could do better in terms of, you look at last season. At the beginning of last season, they rather have shown an old cup game than a live Man United women's game. So there's stuff what I think is great, but there's stuff what I think could be improved upon as well.
I suppose we've got to be careful that we don't rush into it, if you like. I mean, when you come to think where the men's are now, I mean, just in the Premier League alone, it's been 30 years. And before that, I mean, you remember the first final at Wembley, women weren't even allowed to play football, which, is well, it's stupid, but, that was then, so to speak. So I think it's going to grow, but it's got to sort of grow at its own pace. And I think the good thing is that you are seeing, I mean, King Power, for example, own Leicester City women as well as the men's. From what you're saying there, Glazers own both the men and the women's teams. I'm not sure about all the others, but we play the King Power some of our games. But when we move to all this new state-of-the-art stadium, and there's two ways of looking at this, because I'm thinking it's a huge, training facility. It's a huge facility, swimming pools and everything. And you're thinking, right, surely we could have accommodated the women in that as well. But then they have actually taken over our old training ground at Beaver Drive, which it's not the same, but it's their own, if you like. And I mean, I suppose they just getting their own identity, because they need to have their own identity as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do need to have their own identity, and if you'll probably notice it yourself when WSL starts, some of the kit sponsors in the WSL, I think Aston Villa and West Ham are two examples. They have a completely different kit sponsor to the men's side, so they have different promotions, and what I think is quite interesting. I think before this season, Barcelona women, they had a completely different kit sponsor to the men's as well. And I think that's a quite interesting one as well, because that gives their own identity in terms of promotions and sponsorships as well. Because it's like, that is their own kit rather than we're sharing the kit kind of thing. No, I prefer sharing a kit, but because it's United as one, but
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm just looking at Leicester now, and the team photo for the upcoming season. It's our kit with our kit. It's the main kit with the main sponsor and everything on. So it has got sort of that theme, but it was great. And total congratulations to the Lionesses. I mean, it's shown the men how to do it, hasn't it? Really, and I've got to say congratulations as well because they've just qualified for the World Cup.
They did, yeah, and they had one game spare.
Which is tomorrow night, I think, isn't it?
It is tomorrow night against Luxembourg. This is we had the World Cup qualifiers at the start of last year. We beat 20-0 against Latvia.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know how much you knew about that, but it brought Brad Press on saying women's football shouldn't get taken seriously with that kind of scoreline.
Well, I mean, come down to Bournemouth where I live and tell Bournemouth that they shouldn't be taken seriously because Liverpool just put 9 past them.
Exactly. People used to say about the Lionesses, they can only do it against small teams. Can they do it against big teams? But then they've done it against the Netherlands, Sweden. They've done it. They've done it against Germany, who was a very good team as well. And I think a lot of people still quite underestimate the Lionesses, particularly in different countries, to think that we're just a bit of a joke team, which we should be taken extremely seriously just because we're only putting 2 past Austria. But you and me will both know how very well set up Austria is as a team.
Yeah. The semi-finalists last time in the Euros, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And they were just extremely unlucky not to qualify. You feel sorry for them.
I mean, I'm looking at England's group now. Like you say, 1 game left, 27 points. Austria second with 19. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you're watching this, Brad, but if you are, I've just got to say North Macedonia, 1 off bottom with 6
we put 5 past them. We put 5 past them.
That wasn't too bad. At least that was another 20. But when you look at that table, first is England with 27. Bottom is Latvia with 3. We're plus 70. They're minus 53. It's no different to the men's qualifications because you've got the Estonia. All right, the goal difference might be, a little bit different, but you've still got teams in there that aren't going to, do very well. And no disrespect to Latvia, but it happens in the men's as well.
San Marino. Yeah, it happens. This is the thing, though. If you was to play, if it's like the England men's team played San Marino and put 10 past, people go, this is brilliant. We're winning the World Cup. Yeah. But then when you put 20 past Latvia, you look and go, seriously, is this a joke?
Yes, yeah. I mean, like I say, I'm late and I make no bones to it. I'm not going to pretend that I knew a lot about English football. I mean, I knew a couple of the players, Lucy Bronze, Ellen White. That I thought, oh God, are they still playing, sort of thing? But my first meet, if you like, was when I watched the Netherlands game, the friendly before the Euros, and I was surprised because I thought Netherlands are the current champions, and I think we didn't destroy them. That would be unfair, but it 5-1, yeah. So I'm thinking, like, hang on a second. And then when I started to watch the Euros themselves, and you and myself, we both did a lot of sort of live watch-alongs. And apart from the odd team, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, do you know what? They could teach the men a thing or two.
Really, really could. The players are absolutely brilliant, and the thing is, you look at the England team before Serena under Phil Neville, there isn't that much changes. There's still Lucy Bronze, there was still Ellen White, there was still Nikita Paris in there, Jill Scott, there was still them odd names, but what Serena has done, she's put a few youth in there, she's brought some players back who got kicked out. Mary Earps, for instance, Phil Neville says she wasn't good enough to be in as an England goalkeeper. And Serena brought her in and said, "No, you are good enough." Ellie Roebuck was a number one under Phil Neville. She's Manchester City goalkeeper, and she literally come out in a press conference and said, "No, Ellie Roebuck is my number one. St Mary Earps." And the way she's done it, the way she's so open about what she wants to do. Steph Arton, I don't know how much I know about Steph Arton, but she's a big name for England, Manchester City player. She's must be getting on to retiring, to be honest. And she's been in the England team since 2006, never been out of it. The fact that Serena said no, she's not coming into the Euros, no room for her. I picked my squad. I'm happy with my squad, and I've left it like that. And she kept getting hounded by the press saying, "Why are you not bringing Steph Arton through? Why are you not bringing Steph Arton through?" And I think it got to the point where Serena said, "I'm not answering no more questions about Steph Arton now."
And I mean, talking to Phil Neville, did you feel when you had him as England manager, it was almost like, because I mean, he's with his best buddy David Beckham now, isn't he, in America? But who was the manager? Was it somebody Hope was the manager before?
Pardon?
Before the manager before Phil Neville. At England, was it somebody Hope? I think it was a lady. And then, did you feel a bit like, well, you know, we've got a man managing us, and he's not that good anyway?
He's awful, isn't he? And I don't know if you watched it, but Phil Neville, he obviously found out that England was in the final when he was at his interview, and he looked so jealous and bitter. It was absolutely hilarious to watch. It was Mo Marley, who was a caretaker before Phil Neville as the manager, but
Right.
there was no one there who really stood out, and I just think Serena, with her implementations, what she done, she was clear from the beginning. She said, "I want to win trophies with England." That's what she said in her first interview. What I want to do for England, I want to win trophies for England. There was a new competition. It's similar to like the Nations League, It's called the Arnold Clark Cup. It was brand new, so there was 4 teams in there: England, Spain, Germany, Switzerland. We was in that group for the Arnold Clark Cup, and that was our first cup competition. And Serena won it, so she heavily won against Switzerland. I think it's 4-5-0. Then she drew 0-0 against Spain, but she put all the young, like her old B team out against a very strong Spain squad, and you knew how Spain can be set up. But they had their best players, the ones who didn't go to the Euros, drew 0-0, which I think is brilliant. They had Ballon d'Or winner on the pitch and kept it quiet. Yeah. And Germany, they won 3-1. That's why I was confident we'd win the Euros, because we'd beaten 3-1 already. Won the Arnold Clark Cup. And that's how you knew it was kind of the beginning, and you knew Serena hasn't lost the game in the Euros as a Netherlands manager. She's going to want to continue that. But now she's got the World Cup in her hands, I think she's going to want to improve, because she got to the World Cup final and lost against America. But
that's going to be the big stumbling block with the World Cup. The Americans are in.
It is. The only thing is with America, they've got quite an aging team now. They're all over the age of 30. Right. And with our youth, and perhaps we've got a bit more fresher legs with Ella Toone, Chloe Keller, Alessia Russo. That could probably play in our hands as well.
What I liked, and we'll go on to the club just after this last question, was that she wasn't afraid to make the big decisions.
No.
She Ellen White. I mean, you could not imagine Gareth Southgate taking off Harry Kane.
Yep.
And was it Beth Mead she took off, I think, as well?
Yeah, she's took off Rachel Daly as well, who you wouldn't have thought took off. She's took like a lot of the decisions. It was quite crazy, like the way she dropped Steph Arton, the way she's put Mary Earps as number one. They was very bold decisions, what caused a lot of controversy to Lionesses fans. And then not just that, you taking Ellen White off, which I think is the right decision in the end. because it worked. Frank
Yeah,
Kirby,
you can't argue with it, can
yeah,
you?
exactly. Frank Kirby, who's a big name, she's probably one of the biggest stars in the WSL. Taking her off is a very bold move to make as well, and she's not afraid to make decisions to the team because she does it as a team play, not of favoritism. You couldn't look at her and go, "You've got favourites there, England."
Yeah, yeah. No, well, we know. Congratulations to them. It was a joy, and it was as I say. Yeah, you looked at it sometimes and you thought, like, my God, what's the defence doing? But then I look at Leicester every week and think, bloody hell, what's the defence doing? But overall, I loved it. There was no play acting. There was no arguing with the referee. Well, I think once there was, and she was sitting on the pitch. So I think it's great, and we wish them all the best in the World Cup, obviously, next summer. I look forward to that. I really do.
I don't know if you're aware as well, Chris, just to touch on before we go on to clubs. Both Jill Scott and Ellen White has retired from football now.
I know Ellen White has, yes.
Yeah, both her and Jill Scott have retired. Jill Scott retired the day before Ellen White. I think she was about 36, 37, and she was the only Lioness to be in the 2009 Euro final to lose and to be in that squad for the one who won the 2022 Euros. And Ellen White retired due to medical because she's got a punctured lung now. Which is such a shame for her because she's a legend in the women's game as well. So it's a shame for how she's retired, and both of them have come out as retired as Euro champions. Which
Well, this is it. If you're going to go out at the top, as they say. Yeah. Maybe Brendan should have thought about that last season. I don't know. Anyway, we're not talking about that. It'll depress me. Women's WSL next season. I mean, I'm looking. Like I said, this is all new to me. So treat me like a nursery kid, and you're the teacher. I mean, I know Leicester got promoted. We didn't have a good start because this is my limited knowledge of the WSL so far. We changed and got Linda Bedford in. We managed to stay up by 2 points. And Chelsea, I think, won everything. I mean, does that kind of sum up the WSL?
Chelsea's been the champions of the WSL for the past 3 years on the trot. Leicester was newly promoted into the WSL. I think Birmingham's just been a bad smell in the WSL for many years. Like,
don't hold back. See what you mean.
Yeah, they're literally just a bad smell. Like, someone who's just clinging on to their life, like in a league. That's literally what Birmingham
11th all the time, did they? Just stayed up.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was very surprised that Leicester did stay up because they had heavy beatings.
Yes,
one in particular was Chelsea. I think he's lost 9-0, and we beat us 5-0 as well. I think Man City had a similar kind of result against us. So
all right, we get it.
I obviously I don't mean to rub it in, but
no.
Can I just rub one thing in about Leicester? When we played against you, I don't know if you've seen the goal, but we've got a player called Katie Zellum who does corner kicks. She scored from a corner.
Straight in?
Yeah, so she was on the corner and then went like that twice in one game.
Hopefully, was that before we were the old manager?
That was under the new manager.
God.
She'd done it against City as well.
You know what? I think they have been. I think we need to get the women totally away from the men's because they've been watching the men's too much. You know, yeah, like Revy says here, Maisie rubbing it in just a little bit. I'm sorry,
but I just had to mention that goal because it was probably one of the best goals I ever witnessed. I must be honest.
So moving on very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, the big surprise for me, and this is the one thing that happened with the Euros, is that I was looking at the Euros and thinking like, and I was checking like where Portugal are in the world rankings, and who's up there and who's not. And then I look at the WSL and you've got Reading in there.
Mhm.
Nothing against Reading, it's up the road from me, but obviously got better ladies team than the men's.
As you can tell as well, Reading's a mid-table team. Reading is actually not a bad team. I think they're a very physical team, and the way they play, because they're so physical, they can pick up them points and pick up a win and a draw. And the thing is, they come into big games like Chelsea and Arsenal, and they get points. You look at Chelsea; they've only lost 2 games all season. One of them against Reading.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
And I think they beat them 2-0 or something. That's the kind of team they like, because they're so rough. The way they play this, they're so rough. They play like a championship team.
Right.
The way they play in terms of their physicality, but it works in the WSL, and that's how they do gain points. And I think they play a bit of a different formation as well, and they've got a mixture of older players and a bit of youth players. I quite like watching Reading. I just don't like playing against them.
Yeah. Ravi says, "Big up, Chris. You're a great lad." I was going to say the checks in the post, but that's so old-fashioned, isn't it? The PayPal.
I was going to say how much you pay him.
Yeah. Tottenham no different. Don't qualify for Euro as much in the men's, and they don't in the ladies either.
Oh, Tottenham are just crap. They're honestly, they're awful. Like, we used to say like they was our competition, but I look at them and think they haven't got a team. They've got the good players, but they haven't got a team for me where I could say that team is capable of being in European football. They used to be in European football many years ago, but Arsenal dominance, Chelsea dominance, City dominance, and because we've got into the league in 2019 and never been out the top 6. And that's good for a team who's only set up 5 years ago. I just think Spurs have just been a bit behind on everybody else, in my personal opinion. And I just think they don't strengthen at their best. They have brought a couple of good players in, which I'm interested to see. One of them is a former player of Man United's, from our first ever team. But apart from that, I can't see them. I think they could finish mid-table themselves the way they could potentially play.
Ravi says here, Maise, can you tell us how tough the WSL is?
The reason why I'd say the WSL is tough is because it's a small league. You've got to try and pick up as many points as you can, and to be the best, you've got to beat the best. It's not like in the Premier League where you've got 20 teams and you're like, oh, if I lose against City and Liverpool, it's fine because I can still finish 3rd place in the league if I win everybody else. It's not like that, because if you lose against Chelsea, Arsenal, City, who are the current best 3 teams, you're not going to get into the top 3. It's just as simple as that. And another big thing is goal difference. There's been a lot of games where a lot of times where it has to be based off goal difference. When you've got a narrow and compact league, like goal difference does play a big, massive factor. You need to try and score as many goals as you can. You can't just stop when you get to a 5-0 mark and think, right, that's it, I'm happy. You've got to try and do it as best you can and concede as little goals as possible as well. I think that's the reason why I think it's a tough league, but I wouldn't mind to see if the WSL could expand to 15.
I was just going to say, would it expand? I mean, obviously there's a championship, I'm guessing it is called, because that's where Leicester. Yes. How many? Obviously we know there's 4 in the main men's pyramid, and then it goes down. What is it like in the ladies?
There is roughly around the same amount of teams in the championship. 12 of them in there. They've got some big names in there. They've got Crystal Palace. They've got Blackburn Rovers, Southampton, Sunderland. So there's some big football teams in there. And Crystal Palace, in case I don't know if you know this, Zaha donates a tenth of his wages to the Crystal Palace women's team to keep them afloat. So he does that because you're when you're in the championship, you're at a loss. because you need to fund it, and some of them are only semi-pro footballers as well. Some of them have got full-time jobs and got their own sponsors and stuff. What's pretty funny, Watford got relegated, just like they do in the Premier League.
Surprise there.
And another one, Coventry. Coventry came with a 21-point reduction, and they won that many games. They stayed promoted. They stayed in the league.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. Why did they have 21 points deducted? Not that I'm laughing at Coventry at all.
Bit like Derby, they went in liquidation.
Right. I honestly do feel for Coventry. I don't at all. Nippon's in. He says, good evening. Big up to us both. It's nice to see, obviously, Nippon's come in. He's heard we're talking about the women's and thought he'll come in and watch something where you can actually see that we're talking about Chelsea winning. But sorry, Nippon, couldn't resist it. No, I still hate Chelsea. I still hate them with a vengeance. They are my new team in London that I hate now. But right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's have a look. And now you have done your predictions. Lou's going to let us know hers. She hasn't yet, but like I say, she's obviously got other things on her mind.
Get my table up.
Totally understand. Turn it upside down if you would, because it may look better for Leicester. This is how it finished last season, just to quickly go through. So like you say, we managed to stay up, but yeah, there's too many red crosses there. Even Birmingham had 2.
And look, your goal difference was worse than Birmingham's as well.
39, yeah, it doesn't look good. Everton, well, yeah, you expect them to be thereabouts in the relegation zone.
Another one with Everton. They have 3 managers that season.
3?
3.
I suppose they're just waiting for Lampard, are they? Villa, Reading, and Brighton there, and then sort of the big guns. West Ham. I seem to remember watching something on West Ham where the ladies' team was being run by the owner's son or something.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yes, if it still is. But Tottenham then in 5th. Your team obviously in 4th. And then, I mean, you just look at those 3 at the top, and I mean, you're not far behind it. So I'm not, doing, but those 4, it's like green. Those and other, I presume, it's a bit like Scotland, is it? Is it always Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City?
It has been for the past so many years, that's for sure. You wouldn't look at that table and think City was on a bad spell at the start of the season. They had loads of injuries to the point they was using their youth players. They dropped a lot of points, and when it came to February, they played against us at their ground. I've done a match day vlog on it. We lost 1-0. A spectacular goal by Caroline Ware. And they've been unbeaten since in the league. So they won every single game since February, what helped them get to 3rd place. And the problem is, because we was in 3rd place to top 3 for the majority of that season as well, and we was thinking, right, we've got top 3 here. But then we drew against Aston Villa 0-0, which is very rare. Then we had last day of the season, the worst one you could get, Chelsea away. It's the worst game to get last day of the season, and we was actually winning twice at that point in the game. We was 1-0 up, then it was 1-1, then it was 2-1 for us, and we thought, wow, is this it? But we've never beaten Chelsea ever. So it wasn't good.
I've just realised that for some reason, whatever it is, that when they've done these, they're taking off the internet, obviously, with the last 5 games, they start on the right and work over to the left then. That's totally no reason why. But anyway, let's have a look. I'm probably going to go off and just shoot myself when we do this. But let's have a look at the where you think people are going to be ending up next season team-wise. I guess I could straight away. Which one are you? You're on the right here. I guess I could just type Leicester in there, couldn't I? You don't think we're going to have a good second season?
Sorry, no. I don't think so. I think it's second season syndrome for you, if that's the thing anyway in the WSL. But
second season after being promoted, we usually win the championship.
The only reason why I don't want us to get relegated was obviously for you, and you've got one of our youth players on loan, Carrie Jones. And obviously she's one of our own. She's only 18. You want her to do well, don't you? So, but I just think Leicester, if there wasn't one team worse than them, if there was two teams to be relegated, they would have been down. And majority of that season, they was in relegation. There wasn't the relegation until
can't argue.
they picked a couple of wins. So, and for me, I'm looking at you haven't majorly strengthened for me. So, I'm sorry, Chris.
No. I mean, you know, like you say, we were 7 points behind third from bottom Everton. So, like, you know, there was two of teams last season that were obviously bad, you know, and they both happened to be from the Midlands, unfortunately. I mean, you've I don't know where you're going to put Liverpool, but Liverpool have been promoted. You think? I mean, have they been in the Super League before?
They have. They was in the WSL the season we got promoted. And our first win in the WSL was actually against Liverpool 2-0. And that season, they got relegated, and that was the best thing ever. Seeing your rivals getting relegated, you can only just imagine it. I'm sure you probably love it if Nottingham Forest got relegated yourself, but
totally.
Exactly, but it felt like a kid in a candy shop in Liverpool being in the Championship, and we was a top 4 team in the WSL. I must be honest.
Well, at the time, it was probably the other way around, wasn't it, in the men's game? So you had to have something, I guess.
Yeah, I've got to have some kind of praise somewhere.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Who have you got in finishing above us then?
Everton. And I think it's going to be quite a close one. Everton has lost a good few players in the team. McGill is a very good player. Lost them to a rival of Aston Villa. Sander, the main goalkeeper, she's gone to Manchester City. The players who they signed, I don't even know much about them, apart from Beaver Jones, who's a Chelsea player, but she's still very young. They've got our goalkeeper on loan, Emily Ramsey, who was in the relegated Birmingham team. And they've got Jess Park, who's a young player from Man City on loan. Apart from them, I don't really know the players who they've got. They've got them from abroad. So, the way I think they're quite unsettled. They never seem to grasp the team, what was their best team, just because they had 3 managers. It was quite disturbed. They had some injuries. So, with the way they've been with the transfer window, I can't see it being much better, and other teams have strengthened a lot better.
I think I'm going to guess from Ravi's comments who you've got in 10th place.
I know, he spoiled it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Liverpool, I've gone for 10th place. They've got some good players in the squad. They have re-signed a player, Van de Sanden, and she's from Wolfsburg. So to have someone who's from the Champions League into a newly promoted Liverpool side, that's a very, very good move. Weakening other teams around them, Brighton and West Ham. Getting flattery from West Ham, I think that's a bonus. The players who they got rid of, they've got rid of them to crapper teams than them, so they must not have been that good. So I think Liverpool, with the way they are at the moment, they've got to walk before they can run, and they need to be trying to win the games they've got. And with the other teams who have put above them, it can be quite difficult, especially, like I said, the Readings, the Brightons are very underrated team. West Ham is a very physical team, so it'd be very hard for them to pick up a lot of points for me this season.
And do you see, I mean, is there a big, I'm guessing the answer is yes, because obviously we saw with Leicester last season, there's a huge gulf between, you know, the second tier and the top tier, just like there is in the men's, if you like, you know, because, you know, Leicester came up, and let's be honest, we were at the bottom for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it's just that bit of quality. I'm not discrediting quality, but there's just, you can tell the quality between the top the middle and the bottom, because the middle are very physical, so they can pick up them rough points. And then when you're a newly promoted side coming from the championship and you're thinking, oh, like, where am I going to pick up points from? And you're a bit nervous getting into the games as well. Then that's what it's going to be like. But the differences between Leicester and Liverpool, they've got WSL experience.
Yeah.
So that could potentially go in their favour, whereas Leicester's never been in the WSL until last season. That was their first ever time being in the WSL.
How recently have Liverpool been in it then?
Apart from 2019, they was in it for a very long time.
Oh, right, okay.
But the thing is, their owners stopped investing in the women's team. They wasn't making them many signings, and when your owners are giving you funding and your best players are going, you're gonna struggle.
Yes, yeah. And do you think? I'm sort of guessing from what you said, but is it going to be a battle between? I mean, you just said with Everton and Leicester, it could be close. Can you see Liverpool being in that relegation battle as well?
I think it's a possibility, yeah, because I'm looking at the teams who strengthened ahead of them, and they've made some terrific signings, so they can potentially be in that relegation fight. But it all depends if they could pick up a sneaky point, for instance, against West Ham or a mid-table team, because there's not a chance they'll pick up points against Chelsea or Arsenal. Yeah, you can't see it. No. They might even pick up against Man City. You never know. But I think they've got to rely on picking up points, and I think in a lot of the games they're going to have to be a counter-attacking team.
You can see I'm grasping at straws that, like Leicester may just be able to stay up and drag the other two teams above down into it. Above Liverpool, who have we got?
Reading.
Well, wow, okay.
The Reading, who I rate so much. They have lost Brooke Chaplin, who was a key figure there for Reading last season. She has now retired. And just Natasha Harding, who's left to Aston Villa. So losing to a rival isn't that good. But they brought in an ex-Manchester United loanee player, Diane Caldwell. For me, she's probably one of the best tacklers, and when you say I play crunch tackles, she really does crunch tackles. That's how well she is. She's plenty of experience, 33 years old. She's been everywhere, the Champions League, America. She's played absolutely everywhere, and she's the captain for the Republic of Ireland as well. So to have that key figure in there, I think is absolutely terrific. They've signed someone from Melbourne as well. And apart from that, they've been quite signings I don't know, but they haven't strengthened too much, which I do quite like, because you know what, you see the best managers, don't you, where they only they put a couple of new signings in every transfer window. They don't put too many in, and that's what I kind of like. They haven't lost too many, but they haven't put in too many either.
Because they finished 8th last season, so they're not far off really from where you put them this season. Yeah. It was very tight once you got sort of past like yourselves. There's a big gap between yourselves, then down to Spurs. But from Spurs, sort of only 4 points above West Ham. Then it was like 27, 26, 25, 21. So it was all very tight in the middle.
You can see what I mean, can't you? When you've got to try and get every point you can. Yes,
definitely. I'm presuming it's 3 points again, still for a win.
Pardon?
I guess I'm presuming. I presume it's 3 points for a win still.
Of course, yeah. 3 points for. I'm gonna quickly explain about a cup competition, which you'll see. It's called the Conti Cup. So instead of having rounds, you have a group. So you'll have a group competition. You'll play the group, and then say, for example, you win that group, you get promoted into knockout football. It's terrific. I really like the Conti Cup. We got to the semi-finals and got knocked out by Chelsea, but we actually played using the Conti Cup, and we drew 3-3 in that game. Went to penalties. It goes to penalties. So if, for example, you win, you get 3 points in the group. if you draw, it goes to penalties, and if you win the penalties, you get 2 points, and if you lose, you don't get any points. How strange is that?
I know. I'm trying to get my head around it. But I presume we lost on penalties, did we?
No, you actually won on penalties.
Did we? Oh my God! What did we? Leicester actually beat Man United? Bloody hell!
You did. That's the only time you beat us.
Stop the count now. Let's end it now. Oh dear. Jack's in. Hi, Jack. How are you doing from the final whistle on the Leicester channel? Leicester finishing 8th ahead of Reading, Everton, Villa, and Liverpool, says Jack. Wow.
I like his optimism.
Yeah. Tell you what I do like. I mean, and if I lived in Leicester, I tell you what, whether I'd got a season ticket for the main guys or not, it's £42 for a season ticket for the Leicester City women. I would so definitely have got one. Like I said,
$39.99 for Man United.
Yeah, I mean, what value for money, really?
We've got the cheapest season ticket in the league. We didn't up our price since we've been in the Championship.
That's good. Well, I mean, it's great. I mean, and that's good to see. So in 8th place.
8th place, I've gone for Aston Villa. Aston Villa, for me, I put them as my underdog team. They've weakened teams around them of Reading, Everton, and one who you will know very well. They have signed Rachel Daly.
Yes.
Rachel Daly, a Euro champion. She is very versatile, which I love. She can play in defence, midfield. She played in America, Rachel Daly. She also plays as a striker in America. So she can play in every single position on that pitch. And I think that's going to be quite vital for for Aston Villa. They've got some great players as well, of Aisha Lennon. I don't know if you've seen her before. Blonde girl with the long ponytail with the big massive eyelashes.
That's half the team.
Yeah, that's true. Douglas Luise's girlfriend.
All right, okay.
Yeah, it's Douglas Luise's girlfriend. I should have explained it a bit better. And I met Douglas Luise when I went and met her. When I went to Aston Villa away, I'm like, oh, hello, Douglas Luise. I got a selfie with him.
And how fast did he run away?
He didn't run away when I was around. But,
who were Mrs.?
I think Rachel Daly, though, is going to be the difference between them, between Reading finishing 8th, 9th, and 10th, to be honest. That's how good I think Rachel Daly is. And as well, they've got a great manager in Carla Ward. Carla Ward is a terrific manager. She even said to us as well, I love Aston Villa. I'd love to stay in the WSL as much as possible. She's an open and running challenger. She said, I want to get Aston Villa to eventually be a top 4 team. That's how optimistic she is. And to get a draw against Manchester United, I think it's a very good result for her as well, to be honest. So, yeah, based off the management, based off the Rachel Daly strengthening teams around Aston Villa, that's why I've gone for 8th.
No problem. Mike is in the chat. Good evening, Mike. How the devil are you, sir? He says, evening, Chris and Maisie. I'm delving into... delving. I need to sort of redo. I thought I said diving for the first time I read it. I'm delving into women's football for the very first time. Wales watch along tomorrow, where we could qualify for the World Cup playoffs. Whoa. Good luck. Nice. Good luck to the Welsh ladies. Is this Rogers' wake on or not? We're not talking about that. We're avoiding that for one show. He says, what are you like, shameless?
Me, shameless? No.
Right. So we're up to 8th with Villa. 7th.
Brighton and Hove Albion.
Right.
I have gone for Brighton and Hove Albion. They have a very good side. They're a very defensive and compact side, just a bit like how the men play. that's how they play, and they're just a bit like Reading. They can pick up some sneaky points as well. Before they played us in December, they was in the top 3.
Wow.
They was in the top 3. That was how good on form Brighton are, how they were, and the signings they've made, there haven't been anyone who I could go wow, apart from Georgina Fox, who they got on Chelsea on loan. But there's gonna be one big blow for them in particular. They have got rid of May Letitia to Manchester United for 50k. May Letitia, she was voted Brighton's best young player. She was shortlisted for the WSL's Young Player of the Year. She's very versatile in the midfield. She plays a centre back. She plays a full back. She's only 19 years old. She's very good to even be in that England squad. That's how good I think she is. And I think to lose a player like Maya Letitia, it could potentially hurt them. But because of how well compact they are, I don't think it'll hurt them as much as too much, let's just say.
Yes. Could they sneak it, do you think, higher, or do you think that they are kind of mid-table?
They're a mid-table team for me. I just think the other teams are a bit too ahead of Brighton, if you want me to be honest. Especially with the way the other teams play. And Spurs being Spurser, where they pick up them kind of points. You know what Spurs are like. You'll see a lot more of a Spursy being Spurser. I just think with the way the other teams are and the more investment in the other teams, I think if Brighton had the investment, they probably would be able to get into a top 5 team to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and into the top half of the table now. Who have you got in 6th place?
West Ham United.
What I know about West Ham United is just what, and I don't know what the program. I think it was on after Match of the Day or something, and they were doing a docu-series on West Ham United women. One of the owners' sons, I think, was actually running it, as in managing it or whatever. You know, I mean, what did they finish last season? Let's have a look. West Ham. They finished 6th again last season.
Yeah, I think that's where they'll probably end up, to be honest, in my opinion. Just because with West Ham, they have strengthened the defence, what they cost them in some games. They have signed a good forward player from Bayern Munich, and to sign a player who's played Champions League football, you've got to say it's a great achievement there for West Ham. Yeah. Massive strength. They've signed 2 Arsenal players in Alex Hennessy and Kira Flannery, who Arsenal, you know, are 3 Arsenal players as well in Hallie Husson as well. Sorry, and to have them, I think it's great. They signed Kirsty Smith for defence, an ex-Manchester United player. She is a fullback. She's more a defensive fullback than she is an attacking fullback, and I think that's what cost West Ham in some games, the defence. The defence was quite leaky at time to time. So that helps both her and them massively. They have lost their top goal scorer, though, to Manchester United. Right. Adriana Leon. Leon as well. She plays for Canada, an Olympic gold medal champion. Wow. She actually scored an absolute thunder rocket of a goal the other day as well for her country. She's quite versatile. She can play as a winger and a striker. So to lose that kind of versatility in the squad, it's a bit of a blow for me. But I think to sign players who's been in Champions League football, I think it's terrific, and I think that's gonna keep them in as a top 6 team.
And is again Champions League for the women's? Is it as high? I suppose it's not quite as high profile, obviously, as the men's, but is it getting there?
It is getting there. I think they had Barcelona had a 90,000 people in the Champions
Wow.
League game against Real Madrid at Camp Nou. And the Champions League final was one of the most Champions League finals what was watched of Leon versus Barcelona. They've got teams in there who you wouldn't think like. You get to know a bit of the teams in a bit more detail, like Wolfsburg. You would never expect the likes of Wolfsburg to be in a Champions League knockout final, but they made it all the way to the semi-finals. And Barcelona, who only lost 2 games in 4 years in a league, in their own league, and their league has actually got 20 teams in it. So to only lose 2 games in 4 seasons and to be one of the only teams, I think they was the first team Barcelona lost against in 16 months.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's terrific. Bayern Munich, they're not as strong as the men's team, but they're still a fairly strong squad. PSG, another one, fairly strong, but not terrific. They're about quarter-final to semi-final team. Arsenal got to knock out Champions League football. I think they got to the round of 16 and they got knocked out by Wolfsburg.
That sounds about right for Arsenal, doesn't it, in Europe?
It says a lot when Chelsea got knocked out of the group stages and Arsenal got to knock out football.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, I'm guessing in 5th that you're going to go for Tottenham Hotspur.
I am going for Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur, they have made some new signings. As I've mentioned, they've signed a player from our first ever squad of Amy Turner. She is a centre-back. I'm looking forward to seeing her back in the Premier League. They've signed another player from Orlando Pride. She's supposed to be a good attacking midfielder. They've signed another one, Drew Spence, who is a Chelsea player who's also been in the England squad in the past. And I think to have that kind of experience and to have someone who's won titles, who's won trophies, who's been in Champions League football, that does strengthen Tottenham. But apart from their new signings, I can't look at there's about the odd one player, one called Ashley Neville. She's a fullback. I couldn't look at it and go, wow, this is a terrific side here with Spurs. I'm so worried. I literally don't think that. I literally look and go, yeah, we're going to beat them. That's how I think about Tottenham. But we have horribly signed their striker, their 3-goal last season striker of Rachel Williams. Is that a loss for them? Probably not. Is it a gain for us? Squad depth, maybe. Anything else, no. But
what was it about a 3-goal a season striker that attracted you?
Is the Matt Skinner effect. Matt Skinner, right? He seems to look like he was a former Birmingham manager when they was in the WSL. Around 2018, he was at Birmingham. He had the likes of Ellen White in his team. He had our player of Hayley Ladd, and he had Rachel Williams. So I think he wanted to reunite with his old team. I think that's what he was thinking.
Well, maybe you'll be going the same way as Birmingham then.
No, we won't be.
I guess not, because I think you've probably put yourself in 4th.
No, I have put Manchester City in 4th.
Oh, no, I'm glad to see you being no biased being shown here. Manchester City dropping down 1 from 3rd then?
I do believe so. Ellen White retiring, who is a top goal scorer for Manchester City. They do have Bunny Shaw, but I don't really rate Bunny Shaw. Right. They have lost Georgia Stanway to Bayern Munich. They have lost Lucy Bronze to Barcelona. They have lost Jill Scott as she's retired. Jess Park is on the loan deal. Chloe Kelly's got an injury. Karen Bardsley's retired. They basically lost about 10 players. They haven't really made the players back up. They signed the Barcelona player in Layla, fullback. But the thing is, what I always think, if Barcelona like you, they will keep you. I didn't really rate her from what I've watched, and I don't think she's a Lucy Bronze replacement for me because no one does it like Lucy Bronze with her free kicks, to be honest, and
or a singing.
That is correct.
Yes.
They signed an Atletico Madrid player. I don't know two Atletico Madrid players. I don't know too much about, but another player who could be leaving Man City is actually Kira Walsh.
Another England player.
Yeah. They've lost Caroline Ware, who is a Scotland international. She's left to Real Madrid. So they've basically lost the midfield. All the midfield are basically lost, and they've not really made it up.
I can see why you've got them dropping down then. Do you think they could drop down a place even further, or do you think they're still quite a way ahead of Spurs?
I think they're still quite a way ahead of Spurs, to be fairly honest. But I do think if Man City get this injury crisis, how they had in the past, they're going to really struggle.
Yeah, they are.
Because especially not having a midfield now, it's just absolutely crazy. And how they want to lose the players. Kira Walsh wants to leave.
Grammy's just said the same thing, yes.
And I'll tell you something what's funny. Man City was in the playoffs for the Champions League because they finished third, so they get into the playoffs. And they had Real Madrid. Real Madrid isn't a big Real Madrid men team. They only came 5 years ago, just like Manchester United did. And they was in the playoffs. And Real Madrid beat them 1-0. Only the former player, Caroline Ware, scored against them.
Was that for this coming season, was it?
For this coming season.
Oh wow. So they're out of the Champions League now then, Man City?
Yeah, they got knocked out in the second playoff round.
What a shame.
I know, my heart
bleeds
for Manchester City. My heart bleeds.
Yeah. Now then, are you going for your team, obviously Manchester United, third, or are you still going to push them up higher?
I'm going Arsenal third. Just kidding. I've gone Manchester United third.
I wouldn't have blamed you if you had, to be honest with you. So you think a bit up one place from fourth this season? I mean, you have, like you said, you got a top striker in now.
Oh, we sure do, but we've got Alessia Russo.
She did impress. She was one of the players that impressed me, as I couldn't understand why she wasn't getting the starts for England.
Yep, but she was a super sub, that's for sure. She's our starter without a doubt.
Yeah.
So we've got England goalkeeper Mary Earps.
Right.
We've got Ella Toon, who scored in the final.
Oh God, what a goal!
Yeah, what a goal! Alessia Russo, we've got.
Yeah.
We have also made some terrific signings as well. We've literally strengthened in every single area of that pitch, and the differences between the squad then and the squad now are squad depth. That's what cost us, and we picked up injuries, which is why we used the difference between third and fourth, because we picked up a fair bit of injuries and it cost us a lot. But we have got the maximum amount of players for the first time in 5 years of the squad. We have signed Adriana Leon, who I touched on. She's an Olympic gold medal champion. They've signed a player for the future, Grace Clinton from Everton. She's only 17 years old. Signed Maya Letitia, one of the best young players in the league, very versatile defender.
Any relation?
Nope.
No, okay.
They have signed as well Nikita Paris, who's in the England squad.
Yes.
That's another strength. And Nikita Paris, she's played for Arsenal and for Manchester City, so she's got the WSL experience. She's won the Champions League with Lyon as well, which is a strength. You want that kind of player in the team. She's great with low blocks. We signed another player from France, and this is our first French player to be in the Manchester United women's team, Tunkara, and she was a starter for the France team during the Euros, and she's a brilliant centre back. And we've signed Lucia Garcia, the Spain international, who played up front when she's a winger. But yeah, that's just how stupid the Spain manager is. I think he's going to get sacked eventually, though.
Can I just say as well? I mean, you see, you got the England goalkeeper Mary. Please don't let her do any dancing. after her, well, I call it dancing in the loosest term on that day she was celebrating. You know, this to me, and just to sidetrack for a minute. But I'm just looking sort of on the BBC pages here, and from one extreme to the other, England star gets bus named after her as a thank you. Now, I'm not sure whether that is something to be proud of, or Kira Walsh it is that's got a bus named after her. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. And then next to it, just to sort of balance things up a little bit, women's game could be worth 578 million a year by 2033.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's a lot, isn't it? But
it is, and like I say, it's only what it deserves. Having what I saw, sort of say during the summer.
I completely agree. Barclays has put more investment in, Sky's put more investment in, and BT's bought a bit more rights. There's the FA player, which I've shown you where you can watch all the games. You can even watch the championship games on there as well, for if you ever wanted to watch some championship games. I watched some Liverpool last season. But there's one other factor why I think there's a couple of other factors. We've still got outstanding players of Jackie Groden, Netherlands international. We've still got players from. We've got Mannion, who we got off Manchester City on a free. We still got Honor Baje, the Spain fullback, who I know you was very impressed with. She is a Manchester United player as well. So we got some great players. And the one thing what I think is going to play effect, our manager on his last year of his contract. So he's on serious pressure to try and get a new contract off Manchester United. He only signed a 2-year deal, so he knows if he finishes fourth and doesn't get a trophy, he's gone.
Yeah, that is true. Top two, are we seeing no change from last season?
No change. I've got Arsenal second.
I to be honest with you, I mean, I can say I know very, very little. I'm not going to lie, as you know, about women's football, but Chelsea just do seem to be unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. They sure do. And the thing is, as well, with Chelsea, they've made some. They haven't made too many signings, but the signings they've made, they've been terrific. They've signed Butchanan, who is a Leon, who's won the treble. They made some new signings, like they've signed someone from Sheffield United, a young player, so they're looking at investment for the future. They've signed Eve Perisic from Bordeaux, and she was the one who helped France get to the semi-finals of the Euros. So there's a numerous of different players who's got onto there, and the world-class players.
Right. Ravi says here, Kira Walsh is into good music from an interview I watched. Which music would that be, Ravi?
Yeah, I'd like to know, Ravi.
Yes, let us know. Let us know. You're not stalking her at all, really, are you? But
No.
let us know. Well, amazing. I mean, that I don't know what I can say. I mean, I hope you're totally wrong for obvious reasons.
Of course. I hope I'm right for my reasons.
Well, yeah. I mean, from a personal point of view, you've put United third, which is up one. Could you realistically be challenging for second, do you think?
No. I think both Arsenal and Chelsea are too far ahead. Arsenal's got world-class players there, Vivian Miedema, Stina Blackstenius, and they've only made 2 signings, but the signing they've made is Hurting, who is another Swedish international, and she's the top goal scorer for Juventus and just won the league. So they've got basically the same squad, but they've strengthened their attack. And they've got Leah Williamson in there, who's won the Euros. They've got Katie McCabe, who is a well-known player at Arsenal. They've got a fantastic squad, so I couldn't see them not finishing lower than top 2, to be honest. Although we did beat them in the Conti Cup, beat them 1-0, got them knocked out, and then we played Chelsea and then we got battered. But and we drew 1-1 in the league against Arsenal, actually.
Right. I wish. Sorry, just say I wish I hadn't asked Ravi really, because is it Afrobeat and dancehall? Now once you get past glam rock and punk, I'm totally lost with music. I've turned into my dad now, so I have no idea what you're talking about there, Ravi. I am so sorry, but hey, we're going to very, very quickly, because time's going on. We have a very, very sort of 10-second break, and then we're going to look at this weekend's games coming up and see if you can at least give me some sort of shred of hope that we may at least get on the points board this season. We'll be straight back after this.
Broadcasting live worldwide. Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favorite podcast platform, or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Give me 5 from Leicester Till I Die TV.
Join in as we look at the good, the bad, and even the ugly.
Leicester City. The Leicester Till I Die shop is now open.
For all your Leicester Till I Die merchandise,
visit the Leicester Till I Die shop at our website.
Our memories there of winning something. It seems a long time ago. Well, it was a long time ago. Let's not lie. Let's quickly get on to the scores. Let's say Lou, hopefully she's going to be letting me know so we can pop hers in later. Thought we'd do a little bit of a competition. I mean, there's no point in me trying to guess, because I wouldn't have a clue. I just have Leicester winning every week, So we're going to do 3 points for a dead-on score, 1 for the right result. First game on the telly, which is why it's in red. Spurs hosting your team, Manchester United.
Mm-hmm. This is actually going to be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Wow.
At the
It's
game.
going to feel a bit empty. And I know disrespect here, but I'm sure that's going to feel a bit empty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be Shite Hall Lane, isn't it? Shite Hart Lane. But
harsh but true.
True, very true. I'm confident. Why not? 3-0 for Man United.
Oh, that is what Ravi's gone for.
Could be more. It could be more with the way Tottenham are, but...
Well, if you start your new striker, Mike's
no,
gone.
he won't start. Leslie will play.
1-3, Mike has gone. Chelsea, obviously reigning champions, hosting West Ham. I'm presuming you go for a Chelsea win here.
I am going to go for a Chelsea win, but I think this is going to be a much tougher test for Chelsea. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 for Chelsea.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just because of the way West Ham played, it's so physical.
Yes. Right. Oh, God. I honestly don't feel like I want to ask you this. But it could be, is it a relegation 6-pointer from the off? Everton hosting Leicester City?
Deary me. You're still losing out on your goal scorer, Jessica. She's got an ACL injury. Everton didn't look too bad in pre-season, but you can't judge pre-season. 2-2.
Well, yeah, I'll take that. You're giving us a point. I will take that, to be honest with you. I think Ravi's getting it in here. Maise, Spurs is a better stadium than Mould Trafford with the rust.
Well, why would Spurs be rusted? They've only made a couple of years ago.
I know. Well, the players...
If Spurs had a rusty stadium, I'd be highly concerned with only being made a few years ago. But you're spot on. The players are rusty anyway. Apart from Spence, no one slags off Spencer. Spence is my favourite, and I wish he came to United.
No idea, I haven't it. 2-1 Chelsea, said Ravi. 2-1 to Everton, said Mike. Mike. He's Welsh, we'll forgive him. And Ravi says 1-1 Leicester. 1-1? Yeah, 1-1 Leicester, I get you. Brighton hosting Villa. Mid-table clash from yourself.
This is a tough one because 3-2 for Brighton I'm going to go for because Brighton home record is spectacular. And Aston Villa are, for me, underdogs. So I think it's going to be a Brighton win just because they're great at home.
Right. New boys, or new girls, I should say. I apologise. New girls, Liverpool, travelling to Reading. Reading impressed you, but not that much because you got them down in 9th, one place above Liverpool. Are we going to see a boring 0-0 here?
It's very rare it's a 0-0. It honestly is. If you see, there's more chance of me like doing like 50 roly-polies than seeing more than 10 0-0s in the season. I must be honest. Yeah. I'm going to go for a Reading win because Reading are very physical, and I think perhaps maybe with Liverpool being the new kids on the block, they might struggle a bit. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 for Reading.
A 3-1. Brilliant. And then what should be, I mean, again, it's on Sky, and it's great. I've got to be honest with you, it's fantastic that you've got a broadcaster like Sky backing you. I mean, the BBC covered, all the Euros, and the fact that it's getting, you need that coverage, really, don't you? Because that's what everybody's tuning into now. Is whatever sport it is it televised? What can I see it on? And it's great that you've got Sky, and whether you love them or hate them. They have changed the face of English football, as in the male side, and it's great that they're showing that confidence in the ladies.
It is. Did you manage to look at the FA player as well, because you'll catch all the games through there?
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to, hopefully. Well, I'm hopefully going to do a watch along for Everton Leicester, so because my little graphic covers the women's as well. But I mean, this, I'm going to say, you couldn't hope for a better game from the first weekend, could you? Hi, Reese.
No, you couldn't. I'm glad we have got Tottenham. But we do have a tough game when it does come to the last 2 games of the season. We've got our first so many fixtures ain't bad. We've got Tottenham, Reading, West Ham, Brighton, Leicester. So we really have our challenge in November. That's when our biggest game comes in November. So really, we should be trying to get as many points as we can, so we're in a comfortable position. Because that's when we play Chelsea, then we play Arsenal, then we've got Aston Villa at Old Trafford. Then we've got City at the Emirates, at the Etihad. So we're playing in big stadiums as well. When we play against Arsenal, that's at the Emirates as well.
Right.
So when we play Arsenal away, so we've got some tough games. But when it comes to the end of the season, we've got Tottenham, City, Liverpool, our last 3 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It comes all at once. It hits you like a ton of bricks when it comes to WSL. I'll be honest. I think it was at February. It was our bogey month. We had Chelsea, Arsenal, City in 1 month, but we played like Arsenal twice, City twice. I mean Chelsea twice. No, we played them all twice as well. We played them 6 times because we had Arsenal in the cup and in the league. We had Chelsea in the cup and the league, and we had City in the FA Cup and the league. We couldn't write it.
Just reserve your seat, So Man City, Arsenal, what have we gone for?
4-2 to Arsenal.
Wow. Oh. A lot of high-scoring games there. Reese has just come in, and he's gone 3-1 for Man United. Fair enough. 2-0 to Chelsea. Everton versus Leicester 1-1. Thank you for giving us the point as well. Brighton 2, Reading 0. Hang on, no, it can't be Brighton 2, Reading 0. They're not playing each other. Hang on, it's jumped up, and I've got hold of the wrong mouse. Brighton 2, Reading 0, is that right? He's put Brighton 2, Reading 0, hasn't he?
No, I think he's gone Brighton 2-0, Reading 1-0.
Oh, God. Done as he we've had the Welsh and we've had the Scots in. When we're going to build that bloody wall again and get them all behind it.
They wanted their independence. Let them have it.
I think we should make Boris. He should be Minister for Scotland.
You want a wall? How high?
Yeah. Yeah, we should build a wall and we should make the Scots pay for it. That's what we should do.
I'll let the Welsh pay for it as well.
Yeah.
I like the Irish show. Let the Irish come in.
Well, yeah, possibly. That joking, Reese. And Reese is up for the quiz on Wednesday. It's the big one. It is Reese versus Rob, the West Ham fan, who recently won the big quiz I did to kick the season off. Very, very knowledgeable. And you've told me in the past you don't like quizzes, Maisie, but I don't like doing them either. I don't mind hosting them, but I'm not doing them.
The same. I just get a bit tongue-tied, and when you're under the pressure, you're like,
Indeed. But no, well, just to say, I don't know if you saw it at all, Reese, that we're going to have 8 round of 16 games and then 4, obviously, quarterfinals, 2 semi-finals and a final, with the winner getting a free retro shirt. So we've actually got a prize.
Reese wants to hammer the hammers.
He does. Well, what can I say?
What's the retro shirt? Does he get a Man United retro shirt, or is it having to be a Leicester one?
That would be lovely, wouldn't it? No, in fairness, and it is they sponsored me for the Women's Euro coverage. I'm sure there's a selection. Basically, as long as they've got it. Look, hang on.
Oh,
still there. I pressed the off button then instead of the delete button. They're next to each other.
I wondered why it's a bit quiet.
You know me, I'm not quiet. Let's just have a look here. You got Celtic. Right, let's how it goes through. So you got England. So obviously that'll please Reese.
I love that shirt.
Yeah. Clubs, you've got Arsenal, Aston Villa, Brighton, Albion, Chelsea, Palace, Everton, Leeds, Leicester, Liverpool. They haven't actually got Man United. And then you got Burnley, Derby County, Norwich, Sunderland. But you've got Aberdeen, Celtic, Hibernian and Rangers. And you've also
wants a Celtic or Burnley shirt.
Yeah, you've got Bayern Munich, Borussia Mönchengladbach, Eintracht Frankfurt, Kaiserslautern and VfB Stuttgart. Barcelona from the Spanish, and AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus, and Paris Saint-Germain from France. So, I think sort of, as far as I remember, I've gone.
You've disappeared.
There we go. You didn't tell me I'd lost the camera as well. Let's just on my laptop here. The delete button is right next to the on/off button. And a number of times that I should have read the review, because it did say that in the review. In fairness, so there is a good choice of shirts there, and he is a bit of a mongrel, isn't he? And I don't mean that sounds horrible, but you know what I mean, like a mongrel dog. He's got a mix of everything. He's got some German in him. He's got some Spanish in him. What else has he got in him? You're dying to laugh. Just go through it.
I don't.
Oh, I can't believe that anymore. He did say here, let's have a look what he said. He says, I have a retro shirt as long as he'd love one. It's good because that's what the prize is. As long as it ain't Celtic, Liverpool, Inter, City, Arsenal, and England.
Burnley it is then.
Yes. Or Leeds, he goes on to add. And then he says he wants Rangers or AC Milan, it is. I'm wearing an 88-89 Milan retro shirt at the moment. Bloody hell, Reese, have you put some weight on? How big is that? 88 to 89 size? Jesus Christ, mate. Last time I saw you, you're like a stick insect. What have you been doing? Fine, God, I could do with that size, I tell you. But we will see you on Wednesday. Here we go. He said, I'm cultured. Scottish, German, and Italian, basically. Everything the English don't want in football. Yeah, exactly. I forgot to ask her, how did the German women get on in the Euros this summer? Asking for a friend.
I'm asking for a friend as well. Where did the Italian women end up being in the Euros? And where was Scotland? They had to be the highest ranked non-team in the Euros to actually get into the Euros. Bit sad, really, isn't it?
Well,
I'll tell you the story because I don't know if you know. Basically, Portugal got in because Russia got kicked out because of
yes.
what. And the reason why Russia got through was because of a playoff against Portugal. And then it got into a big debate on social media that should it be Portugal or Scotland, because Scotland is the highest ranked team in Europe not to be in the Euros, or should it be Portugal out of merit? And a lot of people, and it was a bit of a mixture one. So that's why I made the joke that Scotland have to be only have to get in through ranked teams, not because they're a good team.
That explains it.
It does. Yeah. But Portugal got in through merit, and that is well deserved.
No, I agree with you. It should have been Portugal, but then let's face it, if it had been Scotland, they would have had, they wouldn't have had so far to travel home after they got knocked out in the group stage.
No, they could literally do it like he's saying, you ain't getting on this bus, you can walk home.
Yeah. He's gone quiet on us now. Devil, what were you doing at Bristol Airport? Apparently it's a large shirt from JD at Bristol Airport. I don't know. Bristol Airport. I could be wrong here because I'm presuming you live in Scotland. Because he's Scotland. I don't know. Does he? Does he live in Scotland? Yeah. He does. So you're a bit lost if you ended up at Bristol Airport, weren't you?
It's one of them. Is it a drunken night out where you go out and think, "Oh God, I haven't got up here today"?
Yes. Yeah, I can remember when I came back off my on the return flight on my honeymoon. We were supposed to land into Gatwick, and the pilot said we've got a bit of fog, so we're just going to have to circle a bit and see if we can land. And I was living in Burnley at the time in Lancashire. But I'd got a theatre booked. How posh is that? I went to go see a show overnight in London. And the guy said, sorry, we can't stop at Gatwick because of the fog. It's not clearing. The next airport that is available is Prestwick. And I thought that was like, you just said we can't land there. And then it dawned on me, it was Prestwick in Scotland. And there was like, there was no way were they expecting this jumbo 747. I mean, there was like, two men and a sheep that were actually sort of watching the airport. Then I had to get on a bloody train and go all the way down to London. I could see my home as we went through Lancashire, but I had to go all the way back down to bloody London to stay in the hotel for the night to see the show. Anyway, no wonder the marriage is over. Maisie, thank you so much for that. I do hope you are. I'll take you 2-2 for the point, but I do hope you're wrong with the league, obviously. It will be interesting to see this time next week, because obviously we're going to be doing this every week. And I will also be doing, hopefully, the watch along on the Sunday if I haven't got any family engagements on. Again, where can people find you? I know it's a Man United channel, but you do a lot of non-Man United stuff as well, including WSL, like we said at the start.
Thanks for having me on, Chris. It's been great. Great banter as well. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Devils United. Manchester United content, men and women's football. Do a bit of sporting content on there. And don't be like Chris and put 2 underscores, MUFC Maise, when it comes to Twitter as well. I always have to get that in.
Maisie 2 underscores Hall. I mean, that is how you should be known. You haven't got a hyphenated name. You've got an underscored name.
It means that I'm underestimated.
I'm thinking what I can get away with saying on that one. So I think I'm probably better off saying nothing. But I will ask one question to end on. And you were very good the other day. You did help me out. I just wondered if you could do the same and sort some house insurance out for me.
Nah.
No. Maisie, it's getting late. I apologise for keeping you so long. Thank you so very much for coming on. Your knowledge is amazing and amazing. And we will see you next Monday at 9:00. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. All the best to you and your family.
Same to you. Bye, Chris.
Thanks, Maisie. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks to Maisie there. She knows her stuff. Thank God, because I have no idea at the moment. But look, hey, I don't know how your teams are doing. Only Chris could do that. Thanks a lot, Ravi. Thanks a lot for popping in, Devils. Thank you, Mike, as well, and everybody else has been in. I'll see you Wednesday, Reese, for the quiz. She's doing VAR now. Anyway, looking forward to it. Like I say, the way that the men's team are going, I have a bit of hope for the women's team. Maybe we could get the women's team manager in to run the men's. There's a thought. Thank you for watching. If you've been listening on your favourite podcast platform, thank you so much for lending me your ears. You can have them back now. And I'll see you tomorrow night at 7:00 for the for the review show? Looking back at the weekend's games. Oh, do we have to? Good night.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV.